Aloha, Dr. Heather Tucker here with another episode of Wisdom Wednesdays. I'm so happy to be back and to be sharing these amazing messages with you. It's been a while, it's been a minute, a couple months now. And one of the things that I learned and I realized and I know and experience for myself is that sometimes God will use a setback as a setup for a comeback. And the comeback is even much more stronger and even more powerful and withstanding than it could have ever been before. So, I want to talk to you today about overcoming the pressure to perform. Do you find yourself being pressured, like operating in this place of hurry, like you got to do all of these things? Maybe it's expectations at your job, or expectations in your family, or expectations at home, or expectations from family members, or other things. Like, it can be so easy to get caught up in this operating out of hurry and rush and busyness, pressure to perform. Maybe there's not enough hours in the day, you may find. We can get overwhelmed by even other things like that we're not even aware of, like the news or our technology or stressful intimate relationships, marriage, parenting, career, or even just caring for someone else. Right. Okay. So I've listed all of these things about what we could get overwhelmed by. And oftentimes we can even put added pressure on ourselves. How can we be able to control the squirrels? Because when we have all this pressure, we feel all this anxiety or stuff coming from other people, it actually leads to great anxiety, even more worry, even more fear and uncertainty. And we end up having to cope with maybe unwanted behaviors, things that we do that we wish that we didn't. But what if you could? What if you could get down to the root cause of all of this, of what's going on, and be able to like almost like pull it up from the root? And instead of operating in this place of hurry, 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 go, 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 you're operating in this place out of ease and grace and flow and calm and the ability to really be everything that God has called you to be and do everything that God has called you to do so that you can have everything that God's called you to have in this moment, in this moment. So in this video, I want to share with you 3 secrets on how to overcome the pressure to perform. So make sure you stay tuned until the end. Let me share with you real quick on where this came from. Um, I like to say that I'm a recovering workaholic, right? I used to, when I was working on my PhD, I had like 3 or 4 jobs. When I was working my full-time job at the Army, I had like 2 other additional jobs. I felt like no one job encompassed everything that I loved until now, what I'm doing now. And there was a great pressure to perform. I found myself stressed out at work, stressed out at home, and it's almost like there was no place where I felt totally safe to be me. And, I find that even after starting entrepreneurship and having my own family, I still felt uncertain and that safe to be me. Well, here's 3 things that helped me along my journey. See, I didn't realize that the pressure to perform wasn't something that was new. I felt like it was something that I just grew up with. My family was very successful, and it was a lot of working and a lot of working, work hard, play hard. And that's how I operated. Hard, hard, hard. Like everything had to be hard. Earning money is hard. Like all of this hard. And I found that I actually had brought that in to even entrepreneurship. I did just wrote up a chapter for a book called It's Her War Too. And I talked about the pressure to perform in the military and how it trickled out into everyday life. We can get overwhelmed and not even know it. So here are This is just a little background. I wanted to share with you where I was coming from with this. Because if you are one that experiences anxiety or uncertainty or overwhelmed by people, like, you're not alone. It's actually quite normal for people to have this going on right now with everything that's coming at us. So the first secret number one on how to overcome overwhelm and pressure to perform is awareness of where the pressure is coming from. It can come from people, places, or things. It can come from just interactions of other people. It can come from maybe an inability to say no and take on projects. It can come from being such a giver that we give so much we get depleted and we never get a chance to receive. It can even come from the mind, the voices in our head from when we were growing up. What did our parents say? What did our grandparents say? What did our siblings say? Right? All of this pressure can come from so many different places. And then sometimes it doesn't necessarily go away when we shift into jobs or careers, it just gets added to. So take a little bit of time and figure out, where is this pressure coming from? Maybe it's something that you don't even know. Like, what are you tolerating or what are you resisting? A lot of times we can have this pressure because maybe we're unconsciously running away from our calling, or we're keeping ourselves so busy that we're not producing. We're consuming, and not being producers. So, and maybe, it could even be that we're not necessarily fearful of the dark side of us, but even fearful of our light. What if you let your light shine bright? Did you know that it can be your time to shine right now? Number two, secret number two. This is actually a really good one. What's not your burden to carry? What is not your burden to carry? Okay, where does this come from for me? I was such a giver. I love people so much more. It's interesting. I used to have a big love for people so much more than even myself, right? So I would give, and then I'd feel depleted and my energy would be drained and I would get sick and I wasn't sure why or what's going on. And I realized that it was because I was taking on other people's burdens that they're supposed to carry, or they're supposed to give to God and let Him take care of them, like I did. See, what happens sometimes when we give so much, I'm not even really necessarily so much, but we take on other people's responsibilities, other people's burdens, we actually can disable them more than enable them. I'm thinking about when I had my son clean his room. So I have a amazing 8-year-old boy. And I would have him clean his room and he would hate it. I used to, make sure that his room was cleaned, or the cleaning lady would do it. And then I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to give him this responsibility. And he does so well with it. He goes deep in cleaning, organizing, making sure everything is great. And eventually it'll get to the point where he'll just do it on his own, right? This is setting him up for life, not just the current moment. I'm enabling him and empowering him to take ownership of his environment. And I'm also being the example of doing that as well. See, a lot of times we can prevent or block other people's journey or other people's success if we try to take on things for them. This is also really important for those of you who are caregivers, because we can't pour out from an empty cup. And a lot of times the caregiver passes away more than the person that they're caring for. So the reality is we want to make sure that we are, as we're caring, giving them empowerment and the ability to do the things that they can do. And so that they see their successes as compared to their limitations. Okay, so hopefully that helped. What burdens are you carrying that you want to let go of and let other people carry them? Or let God carry them and it'll all work out. All right, the last one is secret number 3. Reclaim your power. Reclaim your power and your energy. Energy flows where attention goes. Our minds can automatically go to the negative. I feel like sometimes it's hardwired that way until you change it. And it's possible to change it if you get into the class that's coming up soon. Communication mastery training. Get in the class or get enrolled or get on the waiting list. And it is all about our focus. Right? It's all about our focus. When I focus on the things that were going wrong, my energy would go there, and it would prevent me from really being able to create and focus on what's right and being grateful for the things that are happening. And it also takes our power and our energy away. So for those of you who are called to be calling to other people or to doing a service, if we aren't in charge of our power and our energy, it can be taken away. And it could not taken away, but drained or pulled. I'm going to be cognizant of this. Naturally, it's easy to drain or pull our energy, but also we can change that. So therefore, you don't get impacted by other people's energy. The reality in the big picture is this: God did not call us to be operating out of stress, out of pain, out of anguish, to feel depleted, to feel like there's no energy, to feel like there's no time in the day, to feel like there's not an ability to be able to have that quality time with Him, or even that quality time with yourself. He called us to be operating in a place out of ease and grace, and know that His peace and His grace is so sufficient and enough, and that He could be able to walk with us every single day, even in the midst of the chaos. He called us to be able to be the light that shines bright for all the world to see, even in the midst of the chaos, even in the midst of uncertainty. You can still be all that He's called you to be. So I really hope that these 3 secrets help you overcome your pressure to perform. And again, remember that you are not alone. We would love to be able to see you at one of our events. So make sure that you click the link below and check out what we got going on. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday for another awesome message. Have an amazing evening and day, whatever time it is. And I'll see you soon. Peace.